There I go. Welcome to the Voice of Cheryl. I am Toothless Tiger, and today I come to you. I think I'm going to wait before I say why I'm coming to you because I don't see anyone in the studio. And one thing that we do know, we want at least one individual looking at this broadcast before we get started. So let me just contact a couple of people and remind them that I am live. This is a very important interview, and I'd love for whoever can join us to join. So, on that note, I'm going to send out a couple of texts and ask a couple of people to join me as we meet the Dallas County District Clerk, the Honorable Felicia Petrie. That's one thing about going live is I used to wonder why people would be on there saying, wait a minute, I'm going to let a few people come in. And they're saying that because if no one is there, of course, you don't want to start talking about the important information that you want to speak about and no one is listening because with it being live, once they join where you are in the conversation. And my thing is as long as we have one person that will listen, then we've helped somebody. So we're going to at least wait until we see one individual that has joined in on the live, but I'm not going to keep um, the district clerk waiting for someone to join us. But we're going to continue with this live, and we hope that someone will join us and hear something that they want to hear or something that they didn't know, because it's very intriguing when I found out all about the district clerk and what the actual district clerk does, because I had no concept of what that job entails until, of course, my friend became the district clerk. And I want to at least have one person to hear how great I think she is and the job that I think she's doing and the impact she's making on the city. And we can't afford to lose her, and people need to know that. And I want people to know that. So I'm asking somebody to join us. Somebody will join us, and someone could be looking and just not liking. So we're going to go ahead with no further ado. I'm going to bring to you the Honorable Felicia Petrie. She is the district clerk and has been for the past 7 years. She is the first African American woman to hold the position, and she's in her second term. Now she's getting ready to run for office yet again. And she has some innovative ideas. She brought some, I don't know, I don't want to use my everyday vernacular in saying how great she is as I use adjectives like I do, but she's brought some beautiful things to the office of the district clerk. And so, with that being said, I bring on to you Miss Felicia Petrie.
Hi, I'm Felicia Petrie. I am the District Clerk for Dallas County. I am serving my second term as the District Clerk. I've been with the District Clerk actually for 12 years. I came with the previous District Clerk, Gary Fitzsimmons. So I'm well versed with the office. The District Clerk serves as the custodian of records for the courts. We serve the criminal courts. We have 17 criminal courts, um, 7 family courts, and 13 civil courts. We have 2 juvenile courts. So we serve as the custodian of records. All the clerks work along with the judiciary. So we assist the judges, and we also assist the public, and we assist the attorneys. Whenever you file your records, you file those with the district clerk's office. So if you file for a divorce, if you file for a name change, you file those with the district clerk's office. If you file for child support, you file those with the district clerk's office. So we're here to serve. Um, if you are in a car accident and you have a minor child, well, the monies are placed in trust. That money is invested in our trust department. When your child turns 18 years old, you're able to retrieve that money, but that money is invested and it's invested in our office. So we handle that through the district clerk's office. If you need copies of your divorce, if you need copies of any paperwork that is filed with our office, you come to our records department. In our criminal cases, you would get copies of your criminal records in our Frank Crowley Courts building. What's interesting is we have um, clerks in our George Allen Courts building where our family courts and our civil courts are held. Our criminal courts are in the Frank Crowley Courts building, and our juvenile courts are in the Henry Wade Justice building. In addition to the courts, um, I handle passport offices, and we have 3 passport offices. Although that has nothing to do with the courts, by statute, the district clerk handles the passport offices. In smaller counties, the district clerk handles jury services, but because Dallas County is such a large county, we have a jury services manager. But the district clerk is still responsible for jury services, although we have a jury services manager. So a lot of times you may see my name if you do receive the $6 pay when you come to serve for jury services. My name will appear on there. Um, so it's a very vast and broad department. We have 270 staff that we're responsible for. I have a very knowledgeable management team. I pride myself on our customer service. We are public servants and we are here to serve the public. Um, when I was first elected, I met with Tiffany Young, who was at the time the city councilwoman, and Faith Johnson, who was the district attorney at the time. And we 3 women decided that we would host a Expunction Expo. And the Expunction Expo is designed to expunge records of those individuals that are eligible to expunge their records. So we decided to host the expo. And at that time, we really were unsure what to expect. And we had such an overwhelming number of people who decided that they wanted to do this that we chose to continue. So this year is our 5th year. We had over 2,000 individuals that applied. 1,500 of those actually were eligible to expunge their records. On December 4th, we actually plan to hold our graduation, and 1,500 people will be able to expunge their records. That is a record number for the state of Texas. Dallas County was the first county in the state of Texas to host an Expunction Expo. And so I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud that we are able to help people to expunge their records. This will allow people to get jobs, to get housing, to maybe get certified, because when you have a record, sometimes you can't get a certification for any type of boards, medical boards, if you're going for social work, any type of certification, state certification that you need, if you have a record that would prevent you from doing that. Dallas County, we're currently working on a mainframe, which is 30 plus years old. Um, Under my leadership, we've been able to move our courts to a case management system, which makes us more efficient. So we're able to process our documents without um, having to manage a whole bunch of paperwork, to be perfectly honest. Right now, we're in the middle of our processing our criminal courts, making them, putting in a case management system, which is really challenging. And by May of next year, we plan to go live with that. So that will make all of our courts um, completely paperless, making us more efficient.
Doing something.
I'm extremely proud of that. Our protective order courts is on a case management system. We're now required to um, report all protective orders within a 24-hour period. That is something that the Office of Court Administration has required us to do. Um, Whenever someone receives a protective order for sexual assault of children, you receive an automatic um, lifetime protective order. So, individuals, you need to understand that once you are convicted of a protective order for sexual assault of a child, that becomes a lifetime protective order. So, it never goes away. You're never allowed to expunge that record, and it remains on your record. It goes to a database that every um, law enforcement agency has access to. And we are required by law to report that within 24 hours of that actual order being signed. So we have a number of things that we're working on, a number of things that we are required to do by statute as the district clerk. Um, it is really a tremendous responsibility. You have to be dedicated to do this job. We are here. Our job, we affect so many people. I remind my staff that everything we do affects someone else. Um, we believe in the golden rule: treat those like you want to be treated. Just like whenever you call someone, be kind. We never know what someone is going through.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can answer a question, answer a question. I worked for a previous legislator, and whenever we would call a state agency, whenever you called, it was always someone else's fault. It was always someone else's responsibility. And I, whenever I called, I just wanted a resolution. I didn't care whose responsibility it was. It was just fix it, and we'll figure it out later on. And so that's what I tell my staff now. Let's just fix it, and we'll figure out whose responsibility it is. Um, we just want to serve justice to whoever it is. Let's fix it, and then we'll figure it out later on. Even if it's the sheriff's issue, we'll fix it and we'll contact the sheriff's department. If it's in our power to fix it, we're going to fix it. And we're going to help out, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done. And that's what I believe in. I am a public servant. I'm here to serve the public. I've asked the public to put me in this office, and that's what I plan to do.
Fantastic. Miss Petrie, you've been in that office for 7 years.
Mhm.
But you've been a public servant for how long?
Well, all my life, if I really think about it. I worked previously for State Representative Terry Hodge for 14 years prior to coming with the previous district clerk.
Those were the days.
Absolutely. I learned under Miss Hodge. I learned what it was like to serve. Um, it took commitment. I mean, you know this yourself. Cheryl, it was times we worked all night long. The need, the requests were massive, and we did whatever it took to get the job done. It's difficult to tell a mother, I can't make any promises, but I did promise to do what I could to resolve the problem. And that's what I do here in my office. This is not a 9 to 5 job by any means, um, but I'm committed to it. And I think everyone should demand that of their elected officials.
Exactly. I think that's what I love about you. And when I met you, you were with State Representative Terry Hodge. And for me, she will always and is the Honorable State Representative Terry Hodge. And I saw the tireless work that you guys did. I mean, way beyond any office hours. And it wasn't because of lack of doing the job, because you guys worked tirelessly, but it was because of the type of help and the phone calls you would receive. Sometimes we would all be there in Terry's office crying over
Mhm.
some mother's story
Yes.
about her son and
Yes.
how he was getting mistreated. And, you know, I've spent many a nights with you guys up all night putting together baskets for
Yes.
the senior
Yes.
citizens in your district. And those things that, you know, we vote you guys in office, but we can't pay you
Right.
for having compassion and actually helping people beyond measure. When a little old lady would call you and say, Felicia, I can't pay my light bill this month. And you go, oh Lord, sure, I still gotta pay this American Express bill, but I ain't got no money. But let me call because I can't have this old lady
Yes.
with no lights. You know, it's that type of commitment to your constituents.
Yes.
But you helped people throughout the state, especially as it dealt with guys and females in the penitentiary system. So, you know, I had to interject right there. And I would also like for you to expound a little bit on, you know, a lot of people may not know what expungement means,
Mhm.
especially if you have no dealings with the criminal justice system, or they may not know that, you know, some people may just not qualify and why. Could you just give us a little bit
Sure.
on that?
An expungement means you may have been charged for a crime, and the DA may have decided not to dismiss that charge. They may have decided it wasn't warranted, so that case was dismissed against you. Um, so you're eligible to get that off your record. So that means you can expunge your record. It doesn't automatically go away, although the DA may dismiss the case. You still have to get it taken off of your record. Um, if you serve time for a charge, you are not eligible to get that off your record. If you plead guilty to a charge and you receive deferred adjudication, it does not qualify for expungement. However, if you complete the deferred adjudication, it may be eligible for a non disclosure. I don't approve any records for expungement. I don't approve any records for non disclosures. However, the district attorney makes those determinations. There are guidelines and rules for everything. So I would recommend that you look into it. There are always clinics being held. Um, Different churches will hold a clinic. We hold the Expungement Expo once a year. Um, the sheer number of people that have applied, it is overwhelming. My staff is working overtime to process all the applications that we have received.
Mm,
Everything that we do, the attorneys volunteer. Everything is done at no cost to those that qualify. Um, it is, it's just a remarkable and wonderful event to be able to help the citizens of Dallas County to clear their records. I had a 68-year-old woman call me. She says, what am I going to do at 68? You know,
mm,
she says, I just want my name cleared. I did something when I was a young woman. I was foolish, and they dismissed the case against me. But when I die, I just want my name cleared.
mm,
And I understood that. I understood she wanted her name cleared. So we worked with her. She didn't even have access to the internet. So I entered all her information for her, um, and we paired her with an attorney. And on December 4th, her record will be cleared. Um,
Oh,
so
what a birthday present for you.
absolutely, December 4th is my birthday. Um, so it's rewarding to be able to help people. It's rewarding to use your position. And when my colleagues ask, "Oh, that's a lot of work, Felicia. Why do you do this?" And I tell them because I can. Um,
Mm,
when you are an elected official, when you have the power to do things, you should do it because it's the right thing to do. Um, and I just believe that when God puts you in a position, He puts you there for a purpose and a reason, and you should fulfill that purpose. And that's what I try to do every day. I try to fulfill that purpose. Um, People are amazed when I answer the telephone and I return phone calls. Um, my office is a different type of office. We try to change the perception of a government office. Most
mhm.
people have the perception that government employees are lazy, we're mean, we're rude. Well, in the district clerk's office, we try to change that perception. Um, we work for you. We are public servants. We took an oath to serve the public, and that's what we do here in the district clerk's office.
A lot of people don't really um, understand that that's exactly the boss of the public official is us, we the
Absolutely.
people. And we don't know that we have access. It's like back in the day when you worked for, Representative Hodge, we had no idea if you have problems with the state agency and you've gone within that agency and done, all that you could do, that you could actually contact the people that make the laws for the state
Mhm.
and let them know, hey, these people are not treating us right. And same with your office, people don't know how. I mean, you will literally walk out the back office, come to the front, and assist someone if need be.
Absolutely.
And did you say you're still over, or do you guys still do the passports? I know you mentioned it, and I remember when you gave us a tour of your office of the passports back in the day. So, do you still have that responsibility?
Yeah, with COVID, we've had to change the way we do things. So it used to be where you could just walk in and get a passport, but with COVID, we had to change it. So we set it up where now you can schedule an appointment to come in. So we found that we've been able to help people that way. At one point, when COVID first came about, we completely shut down because the Department of State shut down. And what people need to understand, we don't issue passports here. We're simply an acceptance office. So we accept the applications here and then we send those off. So we don't issue passports, but we do accept the applications. You have to mail, if you are an adult, you can no longer walk in and renew your passports. You have to mail those in. The Department of State has changed the guidelines and the rules on that. But we make concessions on a number of things. And so if you're having difficulty, give us a call and we'll try to work with you to get you in to get an appointment. Um, it is taking a long time to get a passport now. So if you're planning to travel anytime soon, I recommend you get your passport as soon as possible. It's taking at least 12 weeks for an expedited passport. What normally took 2 to 4 weeks is now taking 12 to 18 weeks to get, and that's an expedited passport. So we're finding a number of people are complaining. Again, I don't issue those, but we do everything we can to try to assist. Um, when individuals call the office, um, we're not allowed to get, we're not attorneys, so we're not allowed to give legal advice. So a
Right.
lot of times people will call and say, well, what's my next step? And so we said, well, I'm sorry, I can't tell you that. And they says, well, it's just a question. But well, really, that's legal advice. The next step is legal advice. So we often refer people to SMU, to the law school, um, to UNT. We have a relationship with the University of North Texas Law School. Um, to legal aid. Legal aid has an office here in George Allen Courts building. Then there's the law library. So it's not that we're being rude and not that we're not trying to help, but the statute tells us that we are not allowed to give legal advice. And we do our best to try to guide people on where to go and what to do, but we cannot answer legal questions. So we do our very best to help the public um, as best we can without giving legal advice.
Exactly.
Because people will tell you, well, she said, um, and my clerks, we don't want to get in trouble.
That's right.
Um, and so we do our best to help out without giving legal advice.
Okay, so how is it during this period of COVID campaigning and running an office? I know it has to be just literally overwhelming. Tell me what that's like, because this is not your first rodeo as far as, running for office again. Have you ever faced any opponents? Do you have any now? Because one of the things that I want people to know is who you are as an individual. I know you as the district clerk, and I know you as Felicia Petrie.
Yeah.
So I would like for people to see in this conversation, because we know as adults, when we talk to individuals, we don't know them and we don't read their minds, but we don't do that when we know them, for our whole life. But we get a feel of an individual and their sincerity and who they are. What has it been like during the time of COVID, since everything has changed? What has it been like running the office, trying to run a campaign, and servicing the people as well?
Well, during COVID, my office never shut down. By statute, we have to be open to process protective orders. We have to be here. So, in essence, we are considered essential workers.
Hmm.
Um, we have our magistrate court, which is located within the jail. That runs 24 hours. So, we never shut down in our magistrate court. If the clerks are out in the magistrate court, that would shut the entire jail system down.
Mm.
So, without the district clerks, nothing would run. We assist the magistrate judges to magistrate all the people that come through the courts. So the clerks are essential in running everything in the jail. Here in George Allen, when it first happened, when we first shut everything down, I sent all my staff home. So the managers, we all said, well, we'll try to run it ourselves. Just the telephones alone, we could not handle the sheer number of telephone calls that came in. It was just absolutely amazing, the number of calls. And we were getting calls from all over Dallas County, and people would say, oh my God, somebody answered the phone. Um, it was sheer madness. So I came to work every day. My managers came to work every day. Our staff rotated 1 week on, 1 week off. It was very difficult trying to keep my staff encouraged um, in an unknown time. We didn't know what to expect. So, trying to maintain work, keep my staff encouraged and motivated, continue to do our job. It was very, very difficult. Didn't really realize how we just did it, every day we just did our job.
Hmm.
Um, I have an amazing, amazing staff.
Mm.
Without them, we couldn't do this. I mean, I have an amazing team, and I'm just thankful and grateful um, that they support me 100%. And I could not do it without them. And I try to show my appreciation to them all the time. And Even today, I received an email from one of them. I send notes to them, just encouragement. And
That's who you are.
she sent me a note today, thanking me for the encouragement. And actually, she encouraged me when she's thanking me for encouraging her. So it kind of goes full circle. Um, I pray for compassion. I try to remain compassionate. I try to remember that my staff have issues as well. And so I try to be as compassionate with them as I can and be understanding. I was a single mother myself. I understand what being a single mother is like, raising a child. I was fortunate I had a boss that understood because she was a single mother as well. So I understand that facet. I understand. So we have worked with our staff, giving them, adjusting their schedules. When COVID hit, we worked with them so that they could work from home. We were not prepared for COVID. This has been a learning experience for us. We now have a plan. Should this happen again, we will never be able to fully work from home as a
Mm,
work team. It's
okay.
strictly impossible. Um, our filings are 24 hours. The attorneys file 24 hours. And when we work in our queues, you think, oh my God, I've worked for 2 hours and the page hasn't changed one time. That's because they're continuously filing.
Mm,
We're looking at changing our schedules, but with COVID, we're finding it's difficult finding people to work.
mm,
Um, Dallas County is not offering bonuses, so our staff is finding they can make more money and getting sign-on bonuses other places. So we're in competition for people. So it's been um, extremely hard time, but
okay.
we will continue to do well. We have some people that have been here 35 plus years, that have worked for Dallas County. Dallas County is a great place to work. We have an awesome retirement system. Um, if you're looking for a great place to work, Dallas County is a good place to be. I think I'm a fair boss. I think I'm a fair person. I work just as hard as my staff. I think
Yes.
sometimes harder than some of.
Yes.
When I leave here, before COVID, I used to stay here at the office and work. But when COVID hit, I started going home. So when I leave here, I go home and I work. That's just how much work there is to do. We're finding that um, the judiciary sometimes they have needs that we may not know that they need. So when it's brought to our attention, then we try to figure out a way to make it work for them. And because it makes everything flow for everyone else. And so we try to build our relationships with our other customers, our internal customers and our external customers. And that could be the legal community or the judiciary or pro se litigants. A lot of times individuals represent themselves because they can't afford an attorney. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we do our best to, without giving legal advice, we do our best to try to assist where we can, as long as we stay within the guidelines that we are allowed to stay within.
Mm-hmm.
It is the legal community is it's challenging, it's rewarding, and it's interesting. I have a evidence room that fascinates me. It is fascinating. Sometimes I can't get work done because I'm reading police reports and looking at pictures, and it's just absolutely fascinating. And so we're working on maintaining evidence, but it costs to maintain all of this. So we're working on some things to do that. It's really costly to maintain paper. So we are scanning and digitizing all of our documents, which is a major, major project. We have a lot of books from the 1800s. The books are falling and crumbling. Um, so we've had those um, redone. I have hundreds of those that need to be done. And just to refurbish 100 books, that was over $300,000. And I have hundreds more that needs to be done. So that's an ongoing project for the district clerk's office. By the time I think my term and time will be up, I hope to have all of that completed so that um, future generations will have those for a lifetime. They are absolutely beautiful, a lot of history in those. I would like to hire a curator where that person can um, have tours for the district clerk. There's a lot of history in the books, in the minute books. You'd be surprised how crime has changed from the stealing of horses to the stealing of identity now.
Mm.
So I would like to have a curator to do that. I'd like to have digitize our evidence where people can actually view the evidence from past cases. So there are a number of things that I'd like to do to continue um, as the
Let me ask you a question, District Clerk. When you mention about maintaining the records,
Mhm.
um, let the people of Dallas know there is a big difference in your maintaining the records and the police department and what happened with the disappearing of records and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Those are not the same systems
No,
and they have nothing to do with each other.
no,
You're talking about something totally different.
absolutely.
Okay.
We maintain the court documents, and that's what we do. So if you file a divorce, so it's called a petition, your original petition. So we have that. We have a backup system to a backup system to another system. So if one system fails, we have another system. In those systems, one is located somewhere else, one is in another state. So Dallas County is prepared. At
Mm.
one point, Dallas County did we had a there was a flood in one of the buildings, but we had a backup system. So although that system flooded, we had a backup system. So Dallas County is prepared. Our IT system, our IT department is very prepared. They are very progressive in what they do. Um, so we're ahead of times. So
No,
we
that's
work on
good.
it. We were just approved. My department was just approved for two business analyst positions. And those positions will work with our case management systems, which is very important for us. That will help us with our training, that will help us with quality assurance. Because we're finding sometimes a page may be missing out of a document. So we're having to go back and do that. Sometimes there's a typo. So we're wanting to look at all those things. Also, when I first became the district clerk, um, there were records on file with children's names in there, addresses, social security numbers, and all of that. So we had to pull all those records offline. The statute states that that information cannot be online. So we pulled all our family records offline. We were able to do that. Even with our criminal records, a victim's information was online. So we had to pull all that information off and redact that information. That is costly and time consuming. We are working through the process of doing that. Every time the legislature meets, they change the laws. And so we have to um, adjust to all the laws that change. And the Office of Court Administration is now requiring a lot of reporting to occur. And so we adjust to the reporting requirements. And we're finding that we have to work in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department, um, with probation at times, with our auditor's office. So we collaborate with a number of departments. The county clerk and I, he handles the county courts. I handle the district courts, and there's a difference between the two.
Okay.
Um, and so, Mr. Warren and I, we collaborate on a number of things. We have a great working relationship, and it takes
Fantastic.
that. It takes both of us having to work together because a lot of our things align with one another. So it takes both the county clerk and the district clerk working together, pooling our money to make things happen for both departments and for the judiciary.
Okay, now I want to touch on the elephant in the room.
Okay.
And I know you've gotten this your entire life.
Okay.
I was sending out, asking people in my phone to um, support you
Sure.
and come out because you're having a fundraiser.
Tonight,
And
yes.
if everybody would look at the bottom of the screen in the ticker tape, it gives you Felicia's information, and it also gives you, if you'd like to donate to her campaign, please feel free to do so. She would truly appreciate it, and so would I. I found, and let me just say this, Felicia, before I go with the elephant in the room. I found personally that a lot of the reasons we don't get what we want as a people is because we don't support the people that we want to represent us in office. And since we live in what we call a big machine, and the machine is far greater than you, one individual, then we must put our monies behind our politicians. And we don't do that as a people. All we do is complain, and we don't even try to get to know our politicians. And you're one, like you said, you have an open door policy. Now, you can't spend your whole day greeting people, but you really are accessible to the public. And
Absolutely.
that's the beautiful thing. So I'm just asking people to support you in
Thank
what
you.
you do, because you actually do what you say you do in 100 times more. The elephant in the room is when I was asking people to support you, because
Mhm.
I'm going to come out to your campaign today, the fundraiser that you're having. And I was asking people, and someone sent me back a text and they didn't support people of another race. So
Mhm.
I said, no, 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 no. And you know the word I used that you were, right? And it wasn't no black woman, But I
Mhm.
told her now she's one of us. And no, 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 not with that last name. That last name, I said that last name belonged to master like everybody else's last name. So
Absolutely.
what are you talking about? So would you please? I know you had to deal with this your entire life.
My
So
entire
just
life.
tell us a little bit about your history so that we will know who you are for real.
I, my name is Felicia Ann Petrie. I am from Lake Charles, Louisiana. I am an African American woman. I am the first African American woman to hold this seat, the second woman to hold this seat. And yes, I have heard this my entire life. What are you? And I am a Black woman, an African American woman, a proud African American woman.
And I'm just going to throw in there a more. Keep going, more by woman.
Um, I grew up in the projects in Louisiana. And who knew? Who knew a girl from the projects
Mm,
would be the district clerk in
mm,
Dallas County? Who knew?
mm,
Who knew the girl whose great grandmother could not speak English,
mm,
whose mother couldn't speak English till she was in the first grade?
mm.
Who knew that she would be the district clerk of Dallas County? But here I am, representing you and have to work harder, smarter, and longer, and proud to say, but I shouldn't have to say,
Hmm.
my work should speak for itself.
That's it.
My work should speak for itself. But when I sit here, whoever walks through my door, doesn't matter. If you ask for help, I'm going to give you help. That's what I'm here for. That's what I asked you to elect me. You didn't ask me, I asked you to elect me.
Hmm.
And I represent you well
You
in
do.
everything that I do. I want you to be proud of me. I don't want you to ever feel embarrassed by anything that I do. And I want you to, whenever you think of me, whenever someone asks you about your district clerk, I want you to be proud of me. I want you to be able to say, our district clerk represents us well. And if it's nothing you ever remember about me, I represent you well.
Is there ever a time in your life that you care to speak on? We've seen politics and we've seen politicians and how they tend to sometimes go below the belt or go in your past and think they can hurt you with anything. Is there anything in your past that you think that could have a person would try to take and throw out to people who may not know you, especially since we have a lot of every voting season, we have different people turning the age of 18 and may not know about your past 10, 20 years ago. Do you know of anything that you could, would, or want to speak on that someone would try to use, but you are an overcomer and you overcame?
We all have something
Okay.
in our past. You know, I don't know of anything that I'm ever embarrassed of that I've done, sure.
Okay.
Um, I can wake up every morning and look in the mirror and know that I've done my best at whatever
Hmm.
it is that I've had to do. Um, I always consider my son before I make any decision.
Hmm.
I never want my son to be embarrassed by anything that I've done. I don't want to embarrass my staff by anything that I've done. And if I've done something, I've done it unknowingly.
Hmm.
Um, am I 100%? Probably not. Um, won't sit here and claim it. But I will tell you, I am a woman of integrity.
Yes.
And when I give you my word, I stick by that. And I'm not going to tell you I'm going to do something and not do it. So I'm a humble woman.
Yes.
Um, I'm a giving woman and a compassionate woman. And learning um, to relax, if there's such a thing,
Okay. It's hardest thing to do for me.
it is for me too.
Hmm.
Um, but I love my job. I love what I do, and whatever God has for me, that's for me. And that's what I'm gonna do. So
And that's the way we're going to run this race. And so, on that note, I don't see anybody ask any questions of you in particular. So, I don't want to take up any more of your precious time because I do know that it's precious. And we
absolutely,
had a rumble last night. We were supposed to have the interview,
it
but what
was
I like about it, it's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. And
everything
today was
happens
far
absolutely.
more greater. Yeah.
Well, I want to take this time to thank you for your support. Um, it means a lot to me, Cheryl.
Don't make me start crying now.
But you know my
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
You know my heart. You know my intentions.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm blessed to have such great support, Cheryl. I really am. And I'm just Felicia Petrie,
Yes.
and that's just who I am. Um, I'm just a public servant. And when my tenure is up as the district clerk, I will still be Felicia Petrie. So I want to
Yes.
thank everybody for their support and be kind to everyone. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Yes. And if at all possible, if you can come out to Matitos this
Hmm.
afternoon, anybody in Dallas County, to join the district clerk, get to meet her and talk to her
Absolutely.
one on one. And if you can't make it, it's okay. I have the number down here and I have the address. Send her some money. She needs it. And she needs it because she needs to get back in office. We know name recognition is very important, but we want you all to know that she needs to get back in office because she deserves it. She's done so much for us. Felicia, before we go right quick, I want you to just tell them how you matriculated from working for a politician into being invited to come into the world of the district clerk. And then with the district clerk himself telling you, hey, I need you to run this ship because I'm tired. Could you just give us a little of that story? Because I thought that was a beautiful story and certainly an honorable thing that Gary did. And so I just wanted to mention that.
Well, I met Gary volunteering. I've been a volunteer for the Democratic Party for years, always a behind the scenes person. I had a young son, so um, I took him everywhere with me. He hates politics to this day as a result. And so we were working on a campaign, and that's how I met Gary. And then when Terry decided to run, he became Terry's campaign manager. So we worked on that campaign together. Um, and then when Terry won her election, she asked me to work for her. So I did. And then when he decided to run, he said, well, if I win, will you come and work for me? And I said, sure, because I really didn't expect him to win. And when he won the election. So I chose to come with him. And so I did 2 terms with him. And one day he called me. He says, I don't think I'm going to run again. And I think you should. And I was like, you need to get it together and, decide what you're going to do, because I was going to school for my master's degree. I wasn't running for district clerk was not on my radar at the time. And so he says, okay, I'll think about it. So then he goes back and he called me again, and I just sort of blew him off because I didn't think he was serious. And the third time he called me, he goes, listen, I really think you should run. This is too much for me. I think you do a great job, and I really want you to run. So I called my pastor, and we prayed about it. And then I spoke to my son, and he says, well, Mom, if that's what you want to do, then I'll support you 100%. And I called my mother, and she says, oh my God, Felicia, why would you want to do that? And then after we discussed this, she says, well, I'll support you 100%. And so I called a couple of friends, and everyone was like, well, go for it. We got you. So my first term, I had 5 opponents, and then I went into a runoff, and I was elected. My second term, I had one opponent, but unfortunately he died. And so I ran unopposed after that. And this time I do have 2 opponents. Um, and so while I'm not taking them lightly, um, I can win my reelection. I feel
Yes,
confident about that. But I don't take anything for granted or anyone lightly.
that is
So I need
correct.
everyone's support.
Thank you. Well, that is fantastic. And again, we're going to say thank you for giving us your
My
time.
pleasure. My
And
pleasure.
you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate your
Okay.
support.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you for acknowledging the toothless tiger. And just
Absolutely.
share this channel, share your video. I'm trying to get to my subscribers. If I never get there, we're going to always be here. And this is a platform. If you want the public to know anything and you just want to talk to the people, you're always welcome to come here
I
to,
appreciate you.
to use your voice.
I
Okay.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Fee. The Honorable District Clerk, Felicia Petrie.
My pleasure.
Have a beautiful day.
You too.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Now I got to remove you. Okay, everybody. So I'm going to get ready and end this broadcast. I just want to thank everybody that came in and joined us in this live because I definitely wanted Dallas to see what I see. And I hope that you guys got some glimpse of who Felicia Petrie is as a district clerk. She works tirelessly. And I mean, when I say tirelessly, not only does she work doing her district clerk duties, she still have people to this day calling her office from the penitentiary or their family members asking for help with the work that she used to do with the Honorable Terry Hodge. And Terry still to this day works with individuals to help their families get them what they need to navigate through that prison system. I call it the criminal injustice system, and most call it the criminal justice system. But be that as it may, I want to thank each and every one of you all for spending time with me. You could have been doing anything else, but you chose to listen. And I would ask that you share this video if with at least 3 people. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, I would ask that you subscribe to the channel. If you want notifications, you hit the bell. If you don't want a notification and you just want to subscribe, then just subscribe. I would ask that you like this video and share it. And again, I always have my Cash App down. If you want to support this channel, feel free to leave me a Cash App. I will accept it humbly, happily, gracefully. And if you don't, I'm just glad you're here. You have a grand evening. I am Toothless Tiger. Goodbye.